Chapter 13. After cutting the dragon free, Minley's knife was dull and the skin on her fingers and toes was wrinkled from having been in the dragon's lake of tears for so long. She was also very thirsty. The dragon offered to carry her to the freshwater stream. He knew the forest well. "You'll get there much faster," he said. Minley was a little doubtful about riding the dragon. It was one thing to climb on top of him while he was half covered by water, but now on dry land she realised how large he really was. The dragon was long as the street in front of Minley's house. If he stretched himself up on his arms and legs, he was as tall as a bird's nest in a tree, she realised. Even now, bending down for her, he was higher than her house. But he bent his elbow for her like a step, and with 2 hands she boosted herself up and then climbed onto his back. The round ball on the dragon's head was the size of a small melon, just big enough for her to wrap 2 hands around, and she clutched it as the dragon began to move. It was faster, but not much. The dragon was nimble, but his large body had to constantly manoeuvre around trees and rocks, so it was awkward going. The constant jerking made Minley feel like she was riding a huge water buffalo. As the dragon ducked underneath branches and swerved through trees, Minley understood why most dragons fly. "Dragon?" Minley asked suddenly. "How old are you?" "Old?" the dragon said, and again it seemed a question he had never been asked. "I don't know." "Well," Minley said, "how long have you been in this forest?" The dragon thought hard. "A long time," he told her. "I remember when a bird flew from the sky and dropped a peach pit onto the ground. I watched that pit grow into a tree, and the peaches fell from the tree, and more trees grew from the pits of those peaches, until it became the grove of peach trees that the monkeys have now taken over." "He is very old," Minnie thought to herself, imagining the growth of the trees. Dragon must have been in this forest for 100 years. And she felt a pang of pity as she imagined the dragon alone, unable to fly, endlessly struggling between trees and branches. After picking up her things and drinking at the freshwater stream, Minley climbed back onto the dragon's back. She soon fell asleep, her head on the dragon's ball and her hand holding her rice bowl. Noticing she was asleep, the dragon moved slowly and quietly, even when the water from Minley's compass splashed and trickled down his nose. It was only when a loud shrieking filled the forest that Minley woke. It was such a wild and harsh noise that she bolted up, her eyes wide open in fear. "Don't worry," the dragon told her. "It's just the monkeys." And it was the monkeys. Even though the sun was dimming, Minley could see the monkeys clamouring in the trees. Even though Minley couldn't count that many of them, their screaming made it sound as if there were thousands. "We're getting close to the peach trees," the dragon told Minley, "and they are getting angry." "Stop here," Minley said. She climbed off the dragon's back and she could still see the monkeys through leaves and branches, their baring teeth flashing. "Those peach trees are exactly the direction we want to go," Minley said. "We have to get past the monkeys." "Well, I could still force my way through, but the monkeys would attack you," Dragon said. "I'm not sure if we could get you through unharmed. Listen to them." And the monkeys continued to scream. Minley covered her ears with her hands, but she could still hear them. It seemed like they were screeching, "Get away from here! Ours! Ours! All ours!" "You're right," Minley told the dragon. "They're not going to let us through." "But you said that is the way to the Old Man of the Moon," said the dragon, "correct?" Minley nodded. The monkey's shrieks were starting to sound like hysterical laughter, getting louder and louder, like a volcano about to erupt. She looked from side to side, but the monkeys seemed to be everywhere. There was no way around them. "Then?" the dragon asked. "What are we going to do?"